guys, and welcome back to the Dirt X Show, hosted here on the Dirt Exhibition YouTube channel, where we talk all things New England off-road. I am Brendan here with Rich.
Yo.
And we're diving into winter riding. That's one of the biggest things right now. Obviously, it is the winter here in New England, and we don't have any snow.
I know, dude. This is horrible. It's actually raining today here in New England. So, well, and again, we're in Mass, so I know some spots way up in New Hampshire, there's a little bit of snow. And even a little bit further up in Maine, I think there's some. But for the most part, we're about halfway through January, and I don't think anyone's been able to ride their snowmobile yet this year. So,
yeah. So, we do have snowmobile riding, but, we were going to talk specifically about Jericho as well, and Jericho being open in the winter for things like side-by-sides and whatnot. Now, that also brings up the discussion, tires versus tracks. We have experience riding side-by-sides with tracks, with the Turbo S. Maybe we can dive a little bit into that. And so let's talk about the Turbo S on tracks or with tracks. And
I'll give you the rundown, right? So just so that everyone knows exactly how it works up there. Jericho State Park's open year-round to ATVs and side-by-sides, wheeled machines on tires, so you don't have to have tracks to be out there in the wintertime. Their only rule, or their one stipulation, is that it does have to be below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. If it's above that, the trails get soft, people dig massive ruts, and they don't want that, So again, if it's 30, I believe if it's 32 or below, with or without snow, you can be up there on tires. So that's kind of cool because, we're used to a lot of areas around here, or a lot of trails around here, closing to ATVs and side-by-sides in the wintertime, So the fact that we still have a place you can go up there, and you can actually, as of this year, I'm pretty sure, or when we say this year, I mean this season, I'm pretty sure you can actually ride ATVs and side-by-sides on the road legally year-round. Yep. Up until this point, the park was open during the wintertime, but you had a trailer and you had to, park at one of the trailheads or something like that. But now you can just pull right out of your driveway, go into the trails, and have a good time. So couple things. That does a couple things. People get pissed. The hardcore snowmobile people get really mad when they see a machine with tires out there, because they say that, it can mess up the trails, things like that. And I get it, and when you talk about New Hampshire and Maine, there are a lot of trails that don't allow that. So for the guys that are super bummed out about, having ATVs on the snowmobile trails, not a big deal. Most guys go a little bit further north anyway, so it is what it is. It's still nice to have somewhere local up there if you want to get out and go riding in the wintertime if we do have snow. So it brings up the next thing, right? So obviously we said up there you can ride on tires. Most places during the wintertime you can't. So a lot of places in New Hampshire, I believe, and Maine are open to tracked machines. So ATVs with tracks, side-by-sides with tracks, things like that. The kicker is there's also a width restriction during the wintertime. And, for New Hampshire, that width restriction was always, so I forget what the number was, what the width was, but there was no way you're ever going to meet it with a tracked side-by-side. So that's when we actually, we picked up a set of tracks for the Turbo S to give it kind of give it a shot. We went up to Maine. I don't know how many years ago was it.
I think it was a couple.
Yeah, it was like
a couple years ago.
Yeah, maybe 2 seasons ago.
Camso tracks.
Yeah, we were all fired up, like, hey, listen, this, I want to know, tracks, they look wicked cool. How does a machine perform? Let's get a set. And we had a buddy who was who had planned a trip up to Rangeley, Maine to go up to Snowdio. I don't know if most people that ride snowmobiles in Maine know about Snowdio. It's kind of like the Jericho Jamboree, but for snowmobiles.
Yep.
So we went up there, and when we were getting prepped for the trip, I didn't have a snowmobile anymore at the time. And I started looking into it, and I said, oh, wow, in Maine, if your side-by-side is tracked, you can ride it on the snowmobile trails, and they did not have a width restriction at that time. So we started poking around. Wicked hard to find tracks in the middle of the wintertime. Nobody had them. Searched high and low, wheeling and dealing, Facebook Marketplace, how that can be. We'll get into that. And we found a set of Camso tracks. The Camso, I believe they're the 4S1s, UTV tracks for 1,000 cc's and above. We got those at the time when we bought them. Camso didn't offer an anti-rotation bracket. So for people that don't know, the front tracks in your machine, even the rear set too has its own system. But in the front especially, there's a little triangle piece that gets sandwiched around the control arm, and it mounts to the track to keep the whole track from rotating. They didn't have a kit at the time. Camso didn't make one. So we reached out to atvtracks.net, shout out to those guys. One, because they had really competitive pricing on everything. So we had already found the tracks. We sourced them used. They were actually pretty mint. But if you guys are looking for new tracks and you're looking for someone to order from, they do a really good job up there. So when we hit those guys up, they had that kit, and they also had all of the parts that we needed. So when we sourced our Camso tracks for the Turbo S, they had originally come off of a Can-Am. I forget exactly what model. It was a 1000 Turbo. I don't know exactly which Can-Am model. But the gearing was different. So the actual drive sprocket that turns the track, it has a certain number of teeth on it, and Polaris required something different than what Can-Am required. So we had to source those through atvtracks.net as well. And so we got that stuff. It came very quick. I don't know if you guys have a chance. You can look on YouTube. We do have a video of it.
We'll make sure in this video, YouTube and on Instagram, TikTok, we'll make sure we show the Turbo S and maybe the install. And
yeah, because we have not only the install, but again, swapping those tracks over, showing you how kind of how we broke, peeled the track off, broke it down, things like that, swapped that gearing over, and then got it all mounted up to the machine.
Fairly easy.
Oh yeah,
right.
Oh yeah. I mean, basic hand tools. You know what I mean? Nothing crazy. The only thing that you do have to have is you have to just make sure that you have a way to get the old bearings out. Because when we pulled the hub out, that's the other thing too. The bolt, everyone knows the bolt pattern is different from Can-Am to Polaris.
Yep.
So not only do we have to change the drive sprocket, but we had to change out the hubs themselves. So again, we got hubs directly from online, and they come with new bearings and things like that. So the only weird thing that we needed was you need a way to drive that bearing out. So if you guys are familiar with bearings, if you're changing them, you might have a pipe or a tool like a press kit that has that. That's the only unique thing that you would need. But again, they swapped out and they were relatively easy. We got them on the machine, and the machine got big.
The machine got really big.
The Turbo S is already 72 inches wide.
Yep.
So when you think about a huge machine with those tracks on it, we were deep into the 80s, dude.
I think it was like 84, 86, something like that.
Yeah.
Something ridiculous.
It's in that video, so
Yeah.
so people can go back if you're really actually curious how wide it is. You can actually, if you go back, find that number, and the Turbo S's stock is 70 width is 72.
Yep.
You'll know what the delta is, and then if you have a 60 or a 64-inch machine, you can add that delta. What you get with those tracks. So we put them on, dude. All excited. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm gonna go with you guys. And they're like, oh, what do you mean? I was like, I'm bringing my Turbo S. They're like, you're crazy. Like, you're not gonna be able to keep up. And I was like, yeah, it is what it is. Like, I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna have a good time.
Yep.
I think that they say that the speed reduction is about 30 or 40%. So you got a 30-40% speed loss with the tracks because obviously you're turning those big, massive tracks. So we loaded the machine up. We went up to Maine. We took it in the woods, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Riding
in the trails was a lot of fun. I mean, and again, we have videos. I'll be posting the videos right here, right now. But ripping through the trails with the snow coming at us and just, I mean, it's... It was a big machine, wide. I mean, to see people's reactions when the Turbo S was coming down the trails,
they were not
unreal.
good. They were not good. They did not like it. They were not a fan. People were not a fan.
Most people weren't.
I'm pretty sure that some people literally were screaming at me as we went by, and fuck you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but it was.
I mean, and again, and I understand why. Obviously, it's a snowmobile trail. Again, it's a big machine. We were super courteous.
And it's so mean too. I mean, aftermarket Assassin's exhaust, the big boy turbo, everything.
Yeah, dude, it sounded violent.
It sounded very violent going down the trails. So.
Yeah, but like I said, we were courteous to people. We pull over when someone's coming. We gave them plenty of room. That way, we're not ruining their experience. It was a good time. So we were out there for maybe 45 minutes or so. Half hour. People started breaking down. I think our buddy Alex blew his belt.
Yep.
And then we got all that shit fixed up, and we're like, all right, let's go. Like, we're gonna roll. So we got into a good section of the trail where it's kind of wide open, and I laid into it, and I'm like, yeah, this feels great. And we were doing I'm guessing here. I forget. I don't know if we had GPS, but I'm guessing somewhere around 50 miles an hour. The Turbo S stock right now gets pretty close to 100. Mm-hmm. We've been in the high 90s with it. I mean, and it had more. It was just sketchy to do high 90s in a side by side because it's a freaking side by side with 3,000 miles. You know, this control arm might have a little bend in it. You know, this tie rod's not perfect. So though I'm holding the wheel at 98 miles an hour. You let go of the steering wheel in a Turbo S, dude. It's not going to be good.
Nope.
So I think we're doing like 50 miles an hour if I had to guess. And it was nice. It felt good. It was loud as hell. The only thing that sucked was since we were already maxed out in the machine, we're beating the piss out of it.
Yeah.
And that was actually we had just picked the machine up because it got new head, new cams put in it because we blew a camshaft. So
and we broke it in with tracks.
we broke it in with the tracks on it. So I mean, we didn't drive it around 5. I mean, hopefully Polaris doesn't hear, but I mean, if anything, it's a testament to them because we haven't had a problem with it since.
Yep.
So. We literally broke it in with the tracks on it, and like I said, the only downfall was being on a groomed packed snowmobile trail was you come around the corner at 50 miles an hour and you want to lay into it, because when you think about the way it works, I mean that's kind of how that machine turns. Like the front tracks, you're in all-wheel drive, like they're pulling, so you're turning sideways and it's helping steer the machine a little bit, making it a little easier. Because they don't really move much, you know what I'm saying? Like because there's actually like limiting straps on there. Like your tracks, you don't get a full turn out of them. So because you don't get a full turn, and if you overturn, they just start sliding. So it's really important that those front tracks spin, grip the snow, and kind of pull you around that corner. But since we're already literally at 7,000 RPMs, whatever it was, doing 50 miles an hour, there wasn't a whole lot of gusto there to lay into it and pull it around the corner.
It was sketchy.
It was a little sketchy. Yeah. I mean, it was a good time. We had
fun.
We were out there. We were maybe like an hour and a half into the trip, and we pulled over so everyone could, grab some food, a sandwich, drinks, or whatever. And I looked down at the fuel gauge, and I was like, "Holy shit, dude! We got like 2 bars left." And I'm like, "I think you're like, what do you mean?" I was like, "Dude, we have 2 bars." I'm like, "That's not right." Like, shut it off. Turned it on a few times, started it. I'm like, oh my God, this thing is absolutely eating fuel.
Yeah, we blew through a tank of fuel very fast.
Dude, literally like barely 2 bars. So I'm like, I don't know what the fuck we're going to do. Like, we're in the middle of this. No way we're getting this thing back. And this is not going to be a fun machine to tow, I tell you that, because a snowmobile trying to pull that big-ass machine on 4 tracks, no bueno. So a couple guys riding with us had spare fuel with them, like the little 1-2 gallon tank that straps on the tunnel of the sled. So we robbed some people's fuel. We topped it off as best we could. I think we got back up to like maybe 3/4. And we played around a little bit more. And then I was like, hey guys, had a great time. I know you guys want to rip, so I'll see you later. We're going to head back because, again, we didn't have enough fuel. And we didn't know. That was the first time riding with tracks. And I just, again, I knew we were at higher RPMs. I knew we were beating the machine a little bit, but I really didn't think about the fuel consumption. And it was just, we go in the woods and you're used to a 3-4 hour round trip in a side-by-side and with almost a full tank of fuel. So when we were just a little over an hour into the trip, fuel was not even a thought. Like didn't even cross our mind. It's a good thing we checked.
Yeah.
So we played around a little bit, and we found a little bit of off-trail stuff where there's a little bit of deeper snow. We were climbing over some stuff. And I don't know if you remember, but we had come down over the top of the hill, and it felt a little hard. Like we hit a little hard.
I feel like we hit something.
Yeah, like it was definitely a rock or something under the snow.
Something.
And it was the same situation where there was definitely enough snow to snowmobile, but it wasn't good. I mean, it was around the same time, the second, third week of January, and they had only had a couple storms when we were up there. So whatever, didn't think anything of it. So we're driving back, we're cruising, and all of a sudden Brennan looks over, he's like, hey, the track. I'm like, what about it? You're like, it's gone. I'm like, what do you mean it's gone? So we looked, dude, and literally the track peeled right off the bogey wheels, and we were just driving on the freaking bogey wheels, dude. Like just
we now had a ski.
Dude, literally a ski. So three tracks and a ski. I was like, what the fuck, dude? What happened? So I'm like, it had to have just come off. Like it had to have just happened. So I literally turned around in my snowsuit, just started chugging back, walked all the way back. I'm like, all right, sweet. Found the track literally on the side of the trail, just track chilling.
Yep.
Carried it back. And I'm like, all we got to do is get this thing on, And I was like, oh, like, I think I forgot. I forgot an open-end wrench or something.
Yeah, that's all we needed.
To take the tension off the freaking bogey wheels to shrink that a little bit to get the track back on. So I started looking at it, and I'm like, shit, dude, what are we going to do? And then when I looked, I'm like, I noticed that one of the large bogey wheels had like worn halfway in. I'm like, what the hell? Like, that's weird. Like, why would it do that? And then we started looking at it, and I realized that we actually bent the frame of the track. So the right front track, the frame was a little bit bent. And so it must have bent. That track was probably running sideways, burning up those bogey wheels. And then once it burned them up, dude, the thing just flew off. So at that point, we knew, like, hey, there's no way. There's no way we're saving this, you know?
Yeah, smoked.
I said, all we got to do is find a tree, and we can try to winch the nose of the machine up and maybe put a tire back on it and just
get a
limp.
spare tire.
Yeah, because we brought the spare tire just in case. We figured out we'll throw the tire on it and we'll limp back in 2-wheel drive, and hopefully it doesn't mess anything up. And if it does, whatever, dude. Like, we got to get out of here. So that's when we realized that, you know, the lug wrench and everything we needed to take the track off. We had a lug wrench, and I think we had the adapter that we needed for the splined lug nuts to put the wheel back on. But because I forgot that set that I set up for us, like all perfect, like, hey, there's a little bag, everything we need to work on these tracks, we weren't able to remove the track from the machine. So, dude, we're miles and miles in the woods now. I mean, you're talking, we were an hour and 20, hour and a half in doing freaking 50 miles an hour. Now we're limping. Now we're crawling.
Yeah, and it's freezing.
Oh, dude, freezing cold. Yeah. That was before the Ranger, dude. That's what made me want to get a Ranger because it was cold as hell, dude. And the wind was just whipping, dude. And I don't know if you remember or not, but when we were actually throwing the track or trying to put the track back on, some guy stopped and pulled up next to us, and he knew who you were. He had watched the channel. He's from somewhere down here. It was funny, but then we just started driving, dude. Just driving on the bogey wheels. Nothing you can do. I mean, I'm like, hey, we got to replace these wheels anyway. I don't know how the hell else we're going to get back.
So we used it as a ski.
Literally, it was a ski.
And just limp back 15 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour, something like that the whole time.
Every single, not even. Dude, 15 I think is generous, honestly.
Yeah. And people be on their snow machines riding by.
Looking.
And just like look back.
And pointing and, oh, hey. I'm like, I know, dude. See, I got up here. It's in the back.
We know.
Dude, oh, what a freaking time. And then all of a sudden, all of our buddies went way up, turned around, came back, and some of them passed us on the way back, dude.
Yep.
And I'm like, they're like, oh, what do you want to do? Want us to do? I'm like, there's nothing you can do. Like, I'll see you back at camp. So we rolled back, dude. And by the time we got to the bar, they had like already eaten and had a couple drinks. We were literally, it was the bar, the lake. You go across the lake, and then you got the house right there. And we pull up into the parking lot, dude, driving down the asphalt. And the first reaction is, holy shit, look at the size of that machine with tracks on it. And then the second reaction is, oh my God, where's that track? That one's missing.
Yep.
Oh, dude, we just pull up casually. Don't say shit. We just shut the machine off.
You forgot about the lake crossing, too.
Oh, dude,
that was one of the sketchiest things.
That was
ever.
after. Yeah, well, I mean, we crossed that lake to get out there the first time. And somebody had recently fallen through the ice because the lake wasn't completely frozen yet. The little leg that we were on is wicked shallow. It's like a little off section, and it had been frozen over for a while. A lot of guys had crossed it. We saw it, but obviously they crossed it on a whatever 400, 500, 600 pound sled, and we were in this massive Turbo S with us in it, probably 1,800 pounds.
Sketchy.
Yeah, dude.
I just remember like you know, because you're just so used to getting harnessed in. And then I'm just like, you know what? No, we're gonna unbuckle this right quick, and you know, at any moment in time, I might be jumping out of this thing.
Oh hell yeah, dude! You gotta prepare.
As the Turbo S turns into a submarine.
Yeah, dude. I don't think it floats.
No.
I don't think it would float. I hope I never find out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so again, we pull up, dude, riding skis. Just we go inside. We got some chicken tenders or something, and then we went back and. Everyone's like, oh, well, it takes a long time to get back to the house if you try to take the road. Like, maybe we'll go back and get the trailer. And I was like, dude, I don't care. I'm just going across the lake. I mean, at this rate, if we sink, we sink. And that was sketchy because we got out onto the lake, dude. We're crossing it. And now there's no track over there. So it's just piling snow in front of it. You can feel it, like, digging into the snow, dude, to the wood the whole time, all the way across. And that's it. I mean, that was our experience. That's what it was like having the Turbo S with tracks. I mean, a lot of people ask, is it worth it? Because they're super expensive. I think depending what you get, you're looking at, for the Camso ones, at least $4 or $5 grand by the time you buy the kit, the anti-rotation bracket for your machine, things like that.
Up to like, what, 7 or 8, right?
So I want to get to that. So there's actually another track line that I'll talk about in a second. But those Camso tracks, like I said, $4 or $5 grand. And if you want my opinion on them, the idea is cool. Tracks are cool. I think that they'd be really cool if you're out west somewhere where you got real deep snow, like when you see these guys on the mountain sleds going through big powder. I think that the tracks would be a lot of fun in that application.
Yeah, I think, or if you're using it for more of a utility setup, trying to, on an ATV or something like that, where it's like you're not using it for fun, but you're trying to get around. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it does, but to be honest with you, I feel like most machines will perform just as good with the right set of tires and maybe some chains, and will probably perform better. On a groomed snowmobile trail, a machine on tires is gonna be way better. It's not, the machine's it's gonna feel normal. It's not gonna be sluggish because you're not turning these big massive tracks. You're turning your regular tires.
Yep.
The only issue is if you live somewhere like up in, say Maine, for example, and you want to be able to get around, maybe you go ice fishing, and you got to go through the trails to get to the lake because there's no width restriction on the lake. So, again, you can go nuts out there. A lot of guys do that. A lot of guys haul those ice sheds out there to go ice fishing, and they use their side-by-sides with the tracks. They exceed the width limit, but again, as far as I know, there's no actual width limit when you're out on the ice. It's only for the trails. So the machine would definitely perform better on tires, but if you're in a place that doesn't allow tires in the winter and you want to try to maybe throw some tracks on your ATV just to get out and get around, hey, to each their own. I think if that was the only way to get on the snowmobile trail, then cool, I think it'd work. And that's the only reason why we put them on the Turbo S to begin with. Because down in New Hampshire, where we ride most of the time, they had always had a width restriction on snowmobiles. So we never would have met those requirements. So that's it. Really, if you think about it. So real quick, the other tracks that we saw is made by a company called Track Systems Canada. They have a wicked cool design. If you look at the Camso tracks, there's a smaller gear that turns the track. Those Track Systems Canada ones, they make it so big so that it's almost like a wheel inside of the track. Like it has a lot more contact, and that wheel is much larger, like a regular size tire. And that's what actually drives the tracks. And I'm pretty sure they claim only like a 10 or 15% speed reduction. So we looked into them back then, but the lead time was too much. It was like crazy lead time. I'm like, there's no way. It was kind of like around COVID, so shipping sucked, things like that. So we steered away from them, and they were like $7,000, I think, $8,000. And that was back then, 1-2 years ago.
There was no way we were gonna get them. We were lucky enough to find some on Marketplace, those Camsos.
In time. No, in time. I really want to try the Track Systems Canada ones. Like Track Systems Canada, if you're watching this, if you're listening, hook us up, send us a set. We'll demo the shit out of them, and we'll send them back to you, maybe. So, dude, those things have to be sweet. It has to make all the difference. Because like I said, my biggest hurdle, I can get past the fact that the machine's going to suck fuel. I can get past the fact that you're beating the hell out of it. But it's just the speed, man. And again, I don't got to do 70 all the time, but to be able to do 50 and have a little bit of pedal left to pull the machine around those turns, I think that would make all the difference in the world. And they also do good in deep snow too. Like I see videos. I think it was Al Macbeth, dude, had a set on his Turbo S like years ago when they first made them, and he was out west somewhere, or either out west or up in Canada, somewhere with really deep snow, and he was absolutely tearing it up. So,
I think I would like the full enclosure too.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
I don't really do well in the cold anyways. Like I'm not really, and they say you can dress for it and the whole thing, but it's a whole new world, a whole different world when you have a full enclosure and, heat and AC and things like that inside. We actually, our buddy bought the same Ranger that we have. Yep.
Exact same year, same model. We bought it together. He actually went for a trip up to Rangeley last season, and I let him borrow the tracks. So he threw them on his Ranger, and we got to tool around. And it was pretty cool. But if you can imagine the Turbo S trying to spin those things, then you can imagine what it's like for, to go from 200 wheel horse to freaking 65 wheel horse. It's a pretty big difference. So again, sluggish. I'd really like to see the Track Systems Canada ones on something like the Ranger, maybe the General, or maybe if we put a Force Turbo kit on the freaking Ranger, maybe it'd be pretty sweet.
So the tracks are gone. We don't have the tracks anymore, right?
I sold them again. Just for us, we'll get no use out of them.
Yep.
We don't have enough deep snow, and in the areas that do get snow, we're not allowed to ride on the trails anyway. So it's kind of a dead issue for us. So we sold them to a guy and.
So maybe in the future, but right now, it was fun to do it once. It was fun, but other than that, I don't know. Maybe tires is the way to go.
Yeah.
for us at least.
Well, again, tires are definitely the way to go,
Yeah.
unless you're in deep, deep, deep snow, or unless you're in a place where you can't use tires in the trails. Because that's the majority of snowmobile trails in New England. 90 to 95% of them, you cannot use regular wheels and tires. So that's that.
That's that. Winter riding. Moving on, we'll jump into the next segment here, the next topic. What do you have there?
Oh yeah, dude. So
Funny story.
Some of you guys may or may not have seen the TRX, but we have a big orange TRX, and I daily drive it. I bring the thing everywhere. I'm always getting kids, adults. Everyone's like, "Oh wow, cool!" And everybody has questions. They want to see it. Ours is twin turboed and supercharged, but that's also in another video. So I was at a restaurant or something, and the other day, and I got my food. I walk over to my truck, and I have this little note in my door. And at first, I'm like, "Oh man, is this one? It's a ticket, or two? Some guy left me his number, and I'm not into that. You know what I mean?" So I pull it out, and I look at it, and it literally says, "My truck wants to be friends with yours," and I'm like, "What the hell?" And you turn it over, and he wrote it on the back of a fresh sugar coconut hydrating lip balm package. So pretty cool.
That's the thing. Yeah. All right.
But and then he left this little card, and it says American Ram Club, and it looks like they have the Instagram and the Facebook handle on here, as well as the website. And the website's AmericanRamClub.com. I've never been there. I have no idea what's on that site. I'm gonna check it out, but yeah, dude, it's weird. I don't even like Ram, to be honest with you. That's kind of the running joke, is that I've been the biggest shit talker when it comes to Ram trucks for the longest time.
Forever,
since the beginning. Big GM guy, except for the TRX, because that thing was just so nasty, and nobody has anything that can compete with it. So
this guy's obviously promoting the car club or the truck club, but the funny thing here is the sugar coconut hydrated lip balm. Dude, you didn't have any other paper to write this little note on than this right here, dude. My truck wants to be friends with yours.
And here's the thing, you could have just left it this.
You could have just left that.
I would have looked at this and I'm like, oh yeah, guy must like trucks, must like Ram trucks. All right, I get it. But I appreciate the handwritten note. That's kind of...
I bet you were hoping that some chick left her number for you. I still got it.
I was.
I still got it.
Deep down inside, that's what I was feeling, but...
No.
I knew in my heart of hearts that even if it was a phone number, that I could never call it. So, yeah, that's it, man.
So TRX, dude, we've got videos, right? Those guys who are watching, we've got different TRX videos that are out there. But what made you jump into the TRX? What was that thing that was I have to have one?
So, my buddy works at the local Dodge dealership, and he had hit me up. He sent me a picture. He's like, "Oh, dude, we just got an orange TRX. You should come check it out." I drove by. I went in. The general sales manager comes out. He's like, "Oh, hey, you're friends with so-and-so?" Yeah. He's like, "Well, we usually don't let people test drive these because these trucks are actually numbered. There's only 875 orange ignition editions. Limited edition truck." He's like, "You're not supposed to test drive it. I'll put a plate on it for you. Tell me what you think." And dude, I pulled out of the parking lot and I laid into it, and I knew right there, I was like, this is a done deal. This is a done deal. This thing's nasty. Obviously, everybody knows Ram interiors are by far the best pickup interior, and they've been that way since 2017 or something.
Yeah, they've come a long way. That's really where they stepped up their game with those interiors. They're unlike any others.
No, dude, the interior is so nasty, and they've had control of that part. I think that's honestly what boosted their truck sales. The fact that they literally were just light years ahead of everybody else with the interior. So the fit and finish inside the TRX, beautiful. It's got Alcantara, whatever that stuff is, the fuzzy suede stuff. Beautiful truck, orange stitching. I got in it, and I was like, I felt good. I'm like, yeah, I spent a lot of money on this truck, but if I sit in it, it feels great. So, fast forward, I bought it. Obviously we've since modified it, and it's a great truck. It's a great daily driver. For me, I don't need to drive a 1-ton truck every day. Years and years ago, I only had one vehicle. So if I was going to have one, it had to be able to do everything. Had to be able to tow a skid steer, had to be able to plow snow, so on and so forth. And I just got to a stage in my life where I have other vehicles available to me, through my various businesses. And, we got the medium duty. Some guys have seen on the channel with the flatbed, the switch and go. So I was just thinking, I'm like, I don't need to drive a 1-ton. This is an off-road pickup truck. Suspension's beautiful in it. rides like a cloud, fast as hell, fastest production gasoline pickup truck at the time, and bit the bullet, dude. Pulled the trigger. And like I said, I got the truck, drove it around maybe not even like a week, dude. And I was actually on Facebook Marketplace, and I found a set of wheels and tires that this guy had. He had bought it for his Chevy 1500, and he put them on, they didn't fit. So I'm like, all right, what are they? 35 by 12.5 by 22s. Pretty sweet. You know, I don't know if you got it up on the screen, if you throw it up there real quick so everybody can see it, but super popular. Like, there they are right there. Yeah. So I got those wheels. Like I said, I literally had them like within a week of owning the truck. It just luck of the draw. They were brand new. The guy hadn't even put them on. He bolted one on and turned the wheel, and they rubbed so hard. He's like, yeah, this isn't gonna work. So pick those up. Obviously, you do window tint, the simple stuff.
You had the TRX graphics in the back taken off.
Yeah, so we had to pull some of the graphics off. Like on the bedside, usually says TRX. Up on the hood there, right where the scoop is, that's usually blacked out in front of the scoop. We had to take all that stuff off to do the paint protection. And I was looking at the truck, and I'm like, something, dude, like I kind of like it. I like the way it looks.
Clean.
Yeah, clean.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, like the bottom of the doors right there, that black on the bottom. I don't know why Ram did that, to be honest, because I'm not a huge fan of that. I think that they heard customer feedback, because I'm pretty sure some of the newer TRXs come all one color. They don't have that two-tone anymore. The Sandblast Edition and one of the other trucks. But obviously, it's a lot of work to paint match it and try to make it go away. So I just kind of went with it. I liked the.
Did you do anything to the black? Was it gloss?
Yeah. So it comes gloss black from the factory, but when you look at the truck, nothing else on the truck is gloss black. It's all flat black. The bumper's flat black. The grill, everything's flat black. So our buddy Derek over at Kickin' Customs, shout out to Kickin' Customs. If you guys are looking for wraps, tint, stuff like that, he's the go-to when it comes to paint protection. He put that PPF on there, and it's actually like a satin finish.
Yeah.
So what it did was it made that gloss black on the lower doors look more of a matte black. So looks pretty good
to match everything else in the truck. It looks nice. It really does. It's a tasteful look.
It pops, dude. And and everything I've ever owned has been white or black. Like when I literally, when I test drove the truck, my fiance works 2 seconds around the street from me. We picked her up. I picked her up, and I'm like, hey, let's go for a ride. She's like, there's no way. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you're not driving an orange truck. Like, I've known you for freaking 10, 15 years. You've never, black, white. And I was like, I don't know. It's kind of growing on me, even before the wheels. So here we are. Lo and behold, we bought it. And I get so many compliments on the wheel and tire setup. I mean, again, they're just fuel. I don't even know the model wheel, to be honest with you. I forget. But it's kind of cool because they're like a dark gray in the center.
Like gunmetal gray type of color.
And it kind of matches like the lower part of the bumper on the TRX, because that's like a gray finish from the factory. So a lot of color, but sweet truck, sweet machine. So like I said,
shout out to the Gonzo on Instagram for the photo.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. That guy, he's the man when it comes to taking pictures. This was actually at the Larkin Motors Foundation car show at one of them. That was at Larkin Motors HQ.
Yeah, Dyno Day.
Yeah, Dyno Day, yeah. Not for the truck, but for anybody that wanted to go by, make a donation to the foundation. They were doing dyno pulls. So, pretty sweet, I mean, obviously when you buy a TRX, it's designed to go off-road. Like, you buy it, you beat the hell out of it, people want to drive it in the mud, drive in the dirt, and that's not the case with me.
Yeah. Pavement princess.
Pavement princess.
But it's good, though, because in the channel here and now, with Dirt Exhibition now, we want off-road stuff, but now we have more, like the dailies, the off-road dailies and things like that. It really it allows us to do more for the off-road type stuff.
Yeah, we do use the shit out of the truck, and we take it places. We take the truck in the woods. I mean, not like some people. You see some guys and you're scraping branches the whole way down. Like, that's not our style.
That's not going to happen with this truck.
But like, no, up in some of the high access roads, like deep in the mountains, up in New Hampshire and Maine, we tow a trailer, we drive through there with this thing. Sometimes we get a little crazy with it.
Speaking of towing, I mean,
yeah,
it's got airbags now.
Yeah, no, 100%. So the truck does have airbags. So anybody that's interested in a TRX, and I think even a Ford Raptor, they're not designed to tow. They're just simply not designed. I think the tow rating is like 8,100 pounds. Mm-hmm. And I mean, when they say 8,100 pounds, they mean like 8,100 pounds with like almost no tongue weight. Because I tried putting a trailer on there that was like 7,000 between the trailer and the machines. And the way that trailer is set up, it has a lot of tongue weight, and it's a heavy trailer. And I literally put it on the truck one day, and the freaking tires were ready to touch the fender well, and I'm like, yeah, I can't do it. So we started poking around. I was looking like, hey, does anybody make airbags? Couldn't find anything. Posted on one of the TRX pages on Facebook. Somebody commented, hey, you got to check these guys out. These guys have like pretty much the only company that makes this kit. It's Timber Grove Springs, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Timber Grove Springs LLC. So or Timber Grove Off-Road or whatever the heck
Timber
it is.
Grove is spot on.
Yeah, we'll find it. We'll find it. We'll get it. We'll put it in the description. We'll put it up on the screen too. But yeah, dude, we bought them. They bolted in. They were super easy, like all nuts and bolts. And they actually they mount up high on the frame rail and they mount down low on the rear axle. And they give you an easy way to just unbolt them. So you can unbolt it, you can pull the airbag itself out, and you can still keep the brackets in place. So if you're going to be doing some extreme off-roading, if you want to get the full flex, you want to get, all the suspension travel without the airbag impacting any of that, you can pull it right out. Super simple. And all stainless, Firestone airbags, all stainless brackets, stainless hardware, super, super impressed. And I think that they were only like $1,300, $1,300, which is, which is pretty cheap, all things considered. No onboard air. You have an option for onboard air. You can put a compressor on so you can raise and lower them. I'm a plumber by trade, so I often carry around the Milwaukee inflators. You've seen them.
Yep.
You set the pressure, you hit go, and it shuts off automatically. I always have one on me, and especially if we're towing a trailer, we know we're going away. So we routed the little Schrader valve up inside the bed. So when you open up the tailgate where that little D-ring would be on the left that you strap to, there was a factory hole there already. We set it up, and we just pump them up when we need them. So that's honestly, in terms of vehicle accessories, I think that's the number one vehicle accessory. Like if they made the same kit for any other truck, a 1 ton, if I end up buying a GM, whatever in the future, I would use the same company, same setup for that truck because it makes all the difference in the world.
It just makes so much sense for us because obviously we're towing machines. You know what I mean? We're towing side-by-sides, ATV, four-wheelers, things like that. So to be able to use the TRX to tow, like I said, it's not meant for it, but to be able to use it to tow when we're going places is cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's got plenty of power.
Yeah.
Truck's got plenty of power. The whole driveline, the whole powertrain, everything's built. I mean, it's not designed to tow 20,000 pounds, but it's not like you're asking it to do something that it can't.
What did we tow recently with it?
We've been like the 8,000-9,000 pound range. Yeah. I mean, and you would never even know. Yep. I mean, it towed it beautifully, especially with those airbags, dude. It towed it perfectly, and it was nice and level. And that was a heavy trailer, so I'm sure that you can go more. I'm sure people will do 12,000 or something. I mean, that's for us. That wasn't the goal. The goal if we're towing anything over 10,000 pounds, we're using a different truck. Like it's just for convenience. This is nice for, like you said, we're running up to up in the mountains. You can take this thing and not have to worry about getting stuck somewhere. So it's a pretty cool truck. Performance wise, we have a pretty lengthy video on here talking about the Ep.2 twin turbo kit that we put on this truck. And if you go to that, it'll give you the whole rundown on why we went with the twin turbo kit. But I'll give you the brief overview. I mean, essentially, you got twin turbos. They bolt up under the truck. And you unbolt the mid pipe, bolt the turbo kit up, run the charge tube up to the intake, and you have twin turbos feeding the supercharger. It's through the throttle body, so it's a sweet setup. I mean, it brings this thing up to about 17 pounds of boost. 16, 17 is where you want to be safely on pump gas. Obviously, we all want to get to 25 or 30 PSI, but now you're getting crazy. But for this truck, where we daily drive it, where we tow with it, we didn't want to go nuts. I think we're running about 17 pounds. The supercharger alone makes 11 pounds. So if you think about it, the twin turbos are only adding 6. So a lot of people say, oh, well, that's kind of silly. Like that's a lot of components, a lot of hardware, a lot of money to spend to get 6 more PSI. Like you could make that up in other ways, modifying your supercharger, pulleys, things like that. For us, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to start modifying the supercharger. I didn't want to start breaking into the engine and taking shit apart because, it's a super expensive truck. It's a one of 875, and it's actually like one of 870 because I've seen like 5 of these totaled. Like you always see them, they come up on the page. So, I do daily it for now. I mean, the thought is eventually maybe I'll buy another when GM finally gets off their ass and updates the 1-ton trucks. I may go back to a Duramax and I might keep this and put it in the garage, you know. So for me, I don't want to get crazy modifying the motor and get in a situation where we blow something up, have an issue, and you bring it to the dealer and they say, hey, sorry, we can't because this is heavily modified.
Yeah.
You know, with this thing, you put the stock PCM back in it, unbolt the turbo kit, put it back together, and it's almost like you were never there. So unless they watch this video, then we're screwed.
Unless they watch our channel and find out you know, everything. So
yeah, so that's it. I mean, that's a rundown. Great truck. You guys, we got a bunch of videos on it. If you got you know, a bunch of other videos, if you want to peel through them, spend some time diving into it. So
yeah, and I mean, this stuff's not really you know ATV or side by side related content, but we do
off road.
It's off road. It's off road, and you have to tow your machines.
100%.
So let's talk about machine. You know what we use to tow our machines. So
yeah, no, it's pretty. I mean, that's a pretty popular freaking concept. Like a lot of people talk about it. You know, whether you're towing boats, anything, dude, equipment. You know, the even though you're not riding the truck in the woods, it's a big part of the equation.
So moving on to our next topic. Last show we talked about, you know, Facebook Marketplace and just the overall shit that people deal with on Marketplace. And I think, what's that?
No, go ahead.
I think we might make this a segment where we talk about Marketplace because we constantly have things listed for sale and we're constantly getting the craziest responses in some of our posts. So
so this one's just a little teaser, just a little clip, nothing crazy. But
it's just a little teaser. So we talked about scams. We talked about the people and what they'll do. So the first one is we have the Sportsman 1000S for sale. And I mean, we always get the normal responses. People want to trade, you know, really low ball offers. But remember, we talked about watch out for the scams. And this one came out, and I remember I screenshotted this and I sent it to you, and we just ripped on this dude because it's a fake profile. It's obviously fake, and we're gonna put it up on the screen and we'll dissect it a little bit. But here we go, screenshot. So first things first, right? Jamie Fort, if you're real, I'm sorry, but
yeah, we're sorry.
This doesn't look real to me. So you have.
If you truly are Bike Life, I don't know how you only have 19 friends, dude. Like those guys roll deep. When you see Bike Life, dude, you're talking hundreds of people. So there's no way that this guy only has 19 friends and he's Bike Life.
So this is the person. So again, if you send an offer, well, I'm going to look at your profile, and anybody, if you do get an offer, you should look at the person's profile. So obviously the profile photo is not real. Or at least it just looks, you know, that's not a person. There's just not. And then there's no background photo. And actually, I can't show it now, but when you click on that photo, that photo was added 5 days prior to the message. Oh
yeah, dude. You know
what I mean?
Yeah.
So
100%.
guys, you got to look into this. But anyways, first things first. The first thing I circled, right? I'm Bike Life 100. If you don't know, that basically translates to I steal bikes.
Jesus, dude. We like the Bike Life people though. Some of them, not all bad people. Don't.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But seriously. So I'm Bike Life 100. That's your bio from Providence, Rhode Island.
And you screenshotted this.
I screenshotted
and you sent it to me.
I did.
And you circled these things highlighting it.
Yeah.
But you missed one key clue. Yeah. And I would think that you, with your background, you would pick up on this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And this is, you sent it to me. Very first thing I said to you, what I say to you in the text message.
You said, "Oh, he's friends with Adam Nucleus."
Adam Nucleus, dude. Look at the first guy, ATOM
Yeah.
Nucleus. Oh yeah, yep. He's a real person.
He likes science.
Yeah, hey, what are you gonna do? You know.
But obviously, these profiles, we're looking at these profiles, and I'd be willing to bet that all these profiles are fake. And that's why we're ripping on them. I don't think these are real profiles. Atom Nucleus. 19 friends from Providence, Rhode Island, fake profile. All this stuff was created 5 days ago. When you do click on those people's profiles, they all show the signs of fake profiles.
Dude, and if you're a bot and you're building fake profiles, and you're saying that you're Bike Life, can you not pick the sketchiest town in Rhode Island? Like, if you're trying to hide, if you don't want it to be obvious, why don't you pick like a suburb somewhere
where every stolen bike goes?
Yeah, literally, dude.
So,
well, again, that's just one funny thing, dude.
This was the message though. Like, look.
Oh.
So, hi, is available? Yes, this is available. Question mark. Runs good. Like that's when you see that. I mean, I'm not even gonna respond. I didn't. You know, because again, you look at the profile and you're just like, hey, it's fake. I'm not even going to entertain fake offers.
Is he asking you, like, runs good?
I guess so.
But
I don't know.
Yeah, dude, Marketplace is weird. It's a weird place. So watch out. Don't get scammed. Don't freaking...
And it's every offer. So the last offer, I mean, just to dive into it real quick, last offer I got too was when you click on the person's profile, it's all in Russian. And then when you look at all their friends, everything is in Russian. Now, again,
Nothing against Russian people.
Maybe they want an ATV. I don't know.
Maybe they want it. Yeah, maybe they want it. But it's clearly fake.
Yeah.
So I think Adam Nucleus and that guy Jamie Fort or whatever.
Free Wizard Leezy or whatever the hell the other guy's name was.
Yeah. So we're just gonna bash you a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a segment on the show. I think we're really gonna start ripping on people. Like the world needs to know. Like the world needs to see this shit because it's funny.
So guys, if you're watching and you've had funny marketplace things happen to you, drop them in the comments. Let us know.
Or send them to us. How can they send it? Like send us screenshots because I want to rip on some people.
Yeah. If you have funny screenshots, send them to us and we'll put them, maybe that'll be the segment. If you have funny screenshots of your marketplace deals, we'll throw them up here on the TV and we will dissect them and laugh.
By dissect, we mean bash people.
Yeah. It'll be a good time, good segment.
Send them to us on Instagram.
On Instagram.
Yeah, send them on Instagram.
Yep, for sure.
Tell them where you find us. Dirt Exhibition.
Dirt Exhibition on Instagram, Dirt Exhibition on Facebook. We are also on TikTok. We're starting to ramp up the TikTok a little bit, and because we figured why not. So we've had a couple videos of the Dirt X show that do pretty well here. So we're going to keep on posting Dirt X show related content on TikTok.
Yeah, 100%. And guys, if there's any guests that you can think of, or if you want to be a guest, maybe you want to try to come on the show. I think most of the time it's just going to be us. But if there's somebody that's worth having, somebody who's got some experience in the industry, like we'd love to have them on.
Yeah,
so.
Share good stories, have fun. It's all a good time. So guys, if you're watching this, if this is your first time watching, go ahead, like the video, drop some comments, subscribe to the channel, follow us on all social media platforms.
Yeah, ask us some questions, guys. Like I want to answer questions. Like every once in a while, somebody will shoot you a DM, but like, dude, leave it in the comments. That way, everyone can see your response. If you have a legitimate question and I answer you in a message, you're the only one with the information.
Yep.
But if you have a cool question and you drop it down in the comments and we reply in the comments, other people coming in will be like, oh, hey, wow, yeah, and they'll get the same information. So.
Absolutely. And we had somebody comment asking, or just saying it was overall cool that there was an off-road related show on YouTube. We might try and get on iTunes and Spotify and just put the audio part of that up on there as well. But it's cool to have an off-road channel specifically geared towards New England, where all of our New England riders can come together. And again, if we can share questions and bounce ideas off each other and kind of get the show up and running, then it's cool. It's cool to have a New England specific show that people can go to as a resource.
Hell yeah.
So awesome. That's a wrap for episode 2, Dirt X Show. Guys, we'll see you next time.
See ya.